Steven, how long until we got Tom Brady playing for the Raiders?
I give it till October.
Starting to seem that way. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Just Your Opinion, man. Been a minute since we've done a podcast. I think it was last Wednesday we did one talking about the Greek Fest and everything, and we will discuss how everything went down at the Greek Fest. It was a fun time. Saw Steven. There's a very terrible picture of me circulating on the old, I guess, social medias.
Is it on the social medias?
Someone posted it. It's the photo of me in the beanie where I look terrible.
Who posted that to social media? Even I would do that to you.
I want to say Ogden. Ogden, of course, had to. The picture where I fucking look like Cartman, where I've been trying to do my best. I've been cutting down on the salty snacks. I've been trying to work out every day. And you go to the Greek Fest and we try to, we save our appetite because we're going to eat a shit ton that day. And I did. And of course, I ate so much loukoumades and spanakopita and all the good stuff that I got a big old Greek gut going on. And then I look terrible from all the beer that I drank. So I look like Cartman in the photo that's been circulating. I kind of feel like Guru back in the day when he would show up to the Warriors, what was it, Warriors World tournaments. And he'd be like, man, you guys got me in a schmedium jersey, looking fat out there.
No, I wouldn't take it too personally for you because that's one of the worst possible angles you could take, and also it was also poorly timed because it clearly got you when you were in like mid blink.
Yeah,
because the other pictures that we had, you look pretty normal. So that one, I'm sorry that Ogden did that to you. That's unfortunate.
Not a flattering picture. But then again, there's one of you like creeping in the background. That's kind of funny.
Yeah, I remember staring at that photo. We tried to get in it because we went to get beer and we come back, and then I was like, hey, they're taking a photo, and then I looked and kind of gave a scowl. It's a great look, though.
It was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we had a good time at the Greek Fest. Went last Saturday with our friends. I mentioned Ogden, Jacob, Elena, and had a good time. We've been going to the Greek Fest since 2016, and it's always been a good time. We always have it's kind of our bonding moment of all the people that used to work in 95.7 The Game. And we saw Anna Kakarakis, or AK Fakaros, as she goes now, or AK Kags. I'm not sure what her author name is, but her book came out.
Yeah.
The Lucky Coin or the Brave Coin.
The Brave Coin.
The Brave Coin. So we saw her and ate some good food and had a good time.
Yeah, it was amazing. It's always, it's simple. Just put a bunch of Greek food and then Greek beer and Greek wine in one area, disperse it, you put it on top of a parking garage, get a little live Greek music going, and boom, we got a party. It's always
always a good time. Opa. How do I sound, Ernie? You think Nice Guy sounds louder than me? How do I sound now?
I mean, I tried to change it here. My mic was all the way up, I think.
Oh, okay.
So I changed the level of the mic.
I'm just glad your mic is being used.
Yeah. There's that.
So we were supposed to do a podcast a little earlier this week, but things got in the way a little bit. Steven, why don't you tell everybody what you've been up to lately?
Yeah, well, the Ernies already know because I saw them on Monday. Was it Monday? But yeah.
Hold on. Wait. Sorry, that's bigger news than whatever you're going to drop. You met the Ernies?
Yeah, I met the Ernies.
Well, what are these handsome devils like?
I mean,
I would assume they're good-looking men.
They are good-looking men. They're as nice as can be. They were sitting at the table at the entrance, and I was just like staring forward. Because I met them at the 95.7 Summit event, and Kyle Madsen basically said, hey, I got a tab open, just pick up a beer on my tab. And then I picked up a beer on his tab, and then I didn't even say hi to him until like an hour in. But I picked up a beer on his tab, and I was like looking forward. I didn't really know where anybody was. I knew the Ernies were already there because Ernie1 had sent me a message on Twitter, which I didn't respond to. Sorry, Ernie. And then, yeah, I know. And then, but I was going to be there, so I figured he would. And then, then all of a sudden I hear Nice Guy. And I was like, what? and they're at the table right to the left, right in the corner. So they pulled up a chair, talked a little bit, and then afterwards, we went to Stadium Pub, which was right up the street, and
Good spot. Good spot.
they experienced a Matt Steinmetz who had a couple of beers during the Lakers Nuggets game, and then
That's always the best Steiny too.
yes, and then gutless, and then what was it?
Just laughing and nothing.
Oh, they're also yeah, dude, they're mentioned it here. Hang on, where was it? Good lord. I'm trying to find it, man.
What, in the chat?
Yes,
or
here
what?
we go. They got Irish Goodbye by Guru.
Yeah,
They
well, I
experienced
mean,
they
that's just
experienced
Guru all the time.
They experienced a Guru Irish Goodbye. You haven't lived until you've experienced that. He says that at first he said he was going to go move his car, and I was like, "Good luck, guys. He's not just going to move his car. He's gonna bounce."
Yeah.
But then he came back. Then he sat
surprising.
there.
That's surprising.
Then he came back. Then he sat there for like 5 seconds, and then he just left again.
Sounds like Guru.
Yeah. But overall, great time. Got to know them a little bit.
Well, at least Guru showed up. He's classic at being like, "I'll be there, D," and then not showing up.
Yeah.
Oh, the daughter had a softball game. I'm like, Guru, how many softball games you got to go to, my man?
Yeah, it's okay just to say you can't make it. Like we're not gonna be offended by it. Oh yeah, and then they said don't mention Chubby Cox to Steiny.
Oh, you guys are the best. I love it.
Yeah. No, it was a great time, and there's one dude who was one of the types that yells in a bar. Got no problem with it, but he's just yelling random things about the Lakers and the Nuggets. It's like trying to have a conversation with the Ernies, bro.
I know.
I don't even know who he was.
Was it that same
Nice
dude
guy.
that was talking? Was that same dude that was talking shit when we were there?
No, it was not. This guy was.
Steven
he
was ready to
actually
go full on, throw some beer on that dude.
but not this guy. This guy was fine. Like
Okay.
just loud. That's it. That's all. But other than that, he was awesome. I mean, I came up, said hi to him. Who else? Yeah, I met a couple of listeners at the 95.7 thing. They still, gave me a shout out a little bit, which was cool. And then who I saw? Maury
From Ricky's.
From Ricky's. Yeah. And it was really funny because we were talking for like 10 minutes. I don't know what it was. Maybe 10 minutes or so. I guess he was like working at some golf course out here in Walnut Creek. He gave cool.
The invite anytime I want to go through.
Yeah. So he gave the same to me, and then he said, "Oh, I gotta get a picture." And I was thinking in my head, I was like, "What, a picture with me? Oh, this look at Maury. He wants to take a photo with me." And then he hands me his phone, and he's like, "I gotta take a picture with Whitley." So.
Yeah. Maury's thing is he likes to take pictures with beautiful women.
Yes. So that's exactly what he said. He's like, "You light up the whole room. You're the star of the show." And then he of course had me take the photo.
Well, Maury's a good dude. If you don't know Maury, he used to, run all the TVs back at Ricky's. And I guess Ricky's opened up again, but Ricky's has changed. Not the same Ricky's in San Leandro.
Yeah, that's what he was saying. So I don't know. Probably not going to go back there, unfortunately. But
yeah, I mean, I do love Ricky's and I do love Maury. And it sounds like the whole Warriors Summit was a good time. We should have our own, as Ernie's are saying in the chat here, we should have our own Just Your Opinion Man Summit someday.
Yeah, that'll garner a crowd.
Yeah, at Ricky's.
Boy. Yeah, at Ricky's.
If it was the old Ricky's,
go there.
They definitely would have it for us.
Yeah. Go there and just talk a little Raiders football. I don't even want to imagine what it's like now. I mean, he said it's more of like a nightclub vibe as opposed to like a sports dive bar type of thing. And, you'd probably, and I don't know if you'd be able to get away with, not paying when you're there.
Well, when you're told it's comped,
and then
it seems like you're in the clear. And then when you start to leave with your group of friends and you're told it's not comped, it's a little bad information being spread.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. I forgot JD was there too. JD was hanging out at Stadium. It was a good time.
Nice.
Yeah.
But so tell us, Steven, what's the big news you want to drop on us?
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm engaged. That's pretty much it. I'm engaged. Yeah. proposed to
Nice.
Jesse a couple of weeks ago.
To Jesse,
At
I'm
the
assuming,
time-
right?
Yes, to Jesse. And to Jessica Cardoso, the love of my life. But yeah,
Damn.
man.
So you're like an adult now.
I know. It's like
weird. You're getting married. Elena's getting married.
yes.
Can't we all
yes,
just be
we
young
all
again?
are. I know. There was no but like back when the Greek Fest started, there was like no responsibility. You know what I mean?
No, we were all just young and crazy and stinky, and now we're
Yeah.
clean and have responsibilities. But congrats, my
No, we're
man. That
just-
is that.
We're just old and crazy and stinky now. That's all that's
Exactly.
changed is the
Yeah,
young
we
to
didn't-
old.
We really didn't get clean. But congrats, my man. I am happy for you and Jesse. That's a big,
Mm.
big deal. So congrats.
Yeah, man. She wants to one day take my place on the podcast so she could talk a lot of shit. So we'll see if that happens one day.
That's fine. You can fill in any time.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of get tired of you sometimes.
Yeah, that's fair.
Anyway, should we talk about some sports?
Yeah, sure.
All right. Well, we got the Eastern Conference Finals going on right now between the Heat and the Celtics, and the Celtics are already out to a 13-point lead over the Miami Heat. They were down 3-0, and they won that game the other night. So we'll see if they can make history. I don't know if I like the odds of that. They could win tonight in Boston, but then again, the Heat won the first two games of the series in Boston. So we'll see what happens tonight. But if the series is extended to Saturday and they go back to Miami, that'll be the big tell to me. Like teams have been down 3-0 before. It's a matter of getting it tied 3-3 again. I don't think any team has accomplished that. No team has ever accomplished coming back down 3-0 to begin with. But if you
Right.
get it to 3-3, then you're playing with a little bit of history. But we got to see if that happens with the game 6.
There's just too much. You know what, though? There's too much magic happening for South Florida right now. South Florida might explode if the Heat win this series.
You talking
Like,
about the
I'm
Florida
dead-
Panthers?
I'm talking about both. I'm talking about everything. Brooks Koepka
Yeah.
just won the PGA Championship.
No,
He's
that's
from
true.
South Florida. I mean, obviously the Heat, what they got going on right now, and then the Panthers, what they did.
And you can't forget about your boy Ron DeSantis.
Oh my man! I forgot about him.
Officially running.
So anyway, South Florida, I think. Good Lord, Ron DeSantis just. Anyway,
Old meatball Ron.
meatball. Oh God, I'm not gonna lie. We might have to do like recap shows of the Republican national conventions, the GOP
I'd rather not.
conventions, man. I mean, we're gonna. Whatever insults that Trump hurls at DeSantis, I'm gonna use those insults on you. I wish I had as much creativity with nicknames.
Oh, you're gonna call
as
me
he
Meatball
has.
Derek? That's nice.
Yeah, like I don't know. Sometimes, man, there's when there's
Considering I'm
simplicity.
Italian.
When there's simplicity in an insult, sometimes it just makes it better. Like I just saw Conor McGregor call Canelo Alvarez a sausage today. It's like, ooh, a sausage, that hurts. You little sausage.
That's just
I wouldn't call
random.
you a meatball. I'd be better than meatball though. I can't call you a meatball, like because it's already used.
Just call me Cartman from the photo.
Yeah, fair enough. I might
Pretty accurate.
put that in the corner anyway of the screen. Anyway, what are we talking about?
All right, we will get to basketball because the Nuggets are already in the finals, and I got a lot to talk about with that. Warriors already lost. Lakers got swept. We'll get all to it. We'll give you updates on this Celtics and Heat game 5. But Steven, oh boy, we got OTAs going on, baby. Oh yeah, get excited.
So can we talk basketball?
we will get to basketball. Hang on. I'm with you. Listen, you know I love football. But this time of year when we're in late May and teams are reporting to their voluntary OTAs and we get updates on every little thing that Aaron Rodgers does with the Jets, it's just too much. Like, I'll give you a list of the dumb storylines I've seen from the OTAs recently.
Please do.
But yeah, it's just too much for me right now. Like it's I don't really need to know everything that's going on with, Trey Lance, is his finger in a different spot this year, or we'll get all to that stuff. At the same time, this is what I think about with OTAs. It only happens for a few days, and then we're gonna have the same goddamn storylines 2 months from now. In July happens at training camp. Nothing new is going to happen with the 49ers. Aaron Rodgers, to go from, I mean, it's a miracle that he's doing OTA practice to begin with. Anyway, I'm getting too much wrapped up into it because it's just stupid to me.
See, so tell. I wonder what things are bothering you from OTAs. So is it Aaron Rodgers and his mild calf strain, or is it the quarterback competition that's a brewing in 49er land because they have a brand spanking new Trey Lance who's back from injury? He changed his throwing motion. We got the analysts going to training camp, or excuse me, to OTAs and giving the completion percentage and stuff. I saw Sam Darnold went 11 for 14 in the first practice.
God. Why do we know that? 11 for 14. How many yards?
Oh man,
they say how many yards?
No, they didn't say how many yards. They didn't say whether it was against the blitz or single man coverage. You know why? Because there's no freaking defense. That's why it's dumb.
Oh, come on. Be nice to Cam Edmond.
Is that Cam Edmond?
How's your mother?
Yeah, I'm taking a subtle shot at
I love Cam Edmond. I love Matt Mayoko. It's all part of their job that and I also love Matt Barrows and Nick Wagoner, all the guys that are signed to the 49ers beat.
They're super nice. They're all super cool guys. I'm just talking shit, and I feel
but it is ridiculous. Like, I do love football. Yes, Steven, let's just get to it. These storylines and NFL OTAs are ridiculous. Like, I stupidly have signed up for notifications on my phone with Twitter, and Diana Rossini every 5 minutes giving updates on how Aaron Rodgers was during his Jets OTA practice was ridiculous. And then it ends with, doesn't look good. Aaron Rodgers going to the sideline. He may have hurt himself. Are we really concerned with OTA injuries right now? It's a mild, the calf strain or whatever that happened with Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah.
Okay. So that'll be the last OTA practice. Like, you were lucky enough to have him practice during OTAs. I never thought he would do that in his career ever. But he did it just to be, good with the new team, to show that he's being a team player. And then we won't see him again until training camp. That's all that matters. As far as the Niners stuff going on right now with the three different quarterbacks and I guess Trey Lance, last year his finger hurt, so that's why it hindered his development in last year's training camp. We'll see. And I don't really care who's getting first team reps now and fucking OTAs in May. Come on. And we're talking about, like, Sam Darnold. Is he above Trey Lance in the depth chart? The update with Kyle Shanahan is that Brock Purdy should be ready by week 1. He should be ready for training camp. And then this quote got really misused. Like, the whole "only God knows" quote. It wasn't like him saying, remember when he got really agitated before the draft, when everybody was like, do you expect Jimmy Garoppolo to be on the roster by Sunday? And he was like, I don't know if we're all going to be here on Sunday. It wasn't like he said that. It was, his exact quote was, only God knows when Brock Purdy's going to play. But our hope is he'll be ready by training camp or week 1, but I can't give you a definitive, timeline. So nothing new has happened, really. The same storylines that we have with the 49ers with the 3 quarterbacks are going to be there in July. It really only matters when we get to week 1 and we see a depth chart. And if Trey Lance is below Sam Darnold, then you got some weirdness to it.
It's quite interesting how quickly people kind of forget about what Purdy did. And by the way, you could feel free to steal this if you want. I don't really have the I'll just say KCBS doesn't really have the patience for me doing something like this, and playing this on the air would absolutely just kill anything that's happening during the day, because there's actually important stuff going on in the Bay Area that they got to report about. But if you want to use this, feel free. Just make a remix of the Beach Boys, God Only Knows. And God only knows who the starter could. Wait, God only knows when Purdy will come back.
Dude, you're way off beat. God only knows what I'd be without you.
Yeah.
God only knows who the Niners will start.
God only knows when Purdy will be back.
It's not bad.
If you should ever leave us, Well, life will still go on, believe us.
It's the ending of Boogie Nights.
I like to think the ending of Love Actually, but you can go either way with that one.
Never saw Love Actually. Have you seen Boogie Nights though?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
I've seen both.
that's they play that song, and Don
No,
Cheadle
but
gets some money.
Wait, isn't that the part where with William H. Macy? Like, isn't that the part?
No, William H. Macy kills himself a lot earlier in the movie. It's the end of the movie where they all trying to figure out what they're gonna do with their life, and Don Cheadle can't get any work because he's a porner, he's a pornographer or whatever term they use, and he goes to the donut shop, and luckily he just gets into a shit ton of money because the guy gets killed behind the register.
Right. Oh, that's a beautiful song. But no, feel free to use that. Point being,
I will try. KMBR, it's all about Polly Mack doing the parody songs.
Well,
Yeah.
Tell Paulie, you gotta step aside here. I got an idea. Collab.
Obviously, you never heard the John Dickinson song, Paulie. Nah.
So
Paulie Mack does a good job with his parodies. He was doing way before I was doing them.
what are we talking about? 49ers, right?
We're talking about nonsense, really. That's what it comes down to. None of these stories matter. The other one I saw was other storylines coming out of OTAs was the Patriots. I guess they had a special teams meeting that went 15 minutes too long, and the NFL just went crazy. And now they fined Belichick $50,000. They're not allowed to have OTAs for the remaining 2 days that they were supposed to have it. Okay, whatever. I don't care. And then Lamar Jackson saying that, running too much won't do anything. I'm like, well, yeah, I've been saying that for years, Lamar. So now he's going to throw with Todd Monken as his OC. Again, these are all storylines that will be there in 2 months. So everyone cool your Aaron Rodgers Jets when it comes to all this bullshit that's being discussed right now. By the way, have you seen this Aaron Rodgers documentary on the Jets YouTube show?
Why are you seeking these things out?
I'm not seeking them out. I just sometimes late at night, I'm watching YouTube clips and I came across this. It's a 40-minute like Hard Knocks type of thing.
Oh, 40 minutes.
Just before bed. It wasn't that big of a deal. It was the most overhyped thing I've ever seen in my life. It was just like really dramatic music. They had like Rich Eisen narrating it, and it's like Aaron Rodgers finally lands with the Jets. Da 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 da. Like it was just the most, hype thing of all time. Of like, I don't know what they're gonna do with the other episodes, but it was just ridiculous to celebrate all that shit.
Well, look, man, they're really trying to push this whole like AFC East powerhouse sort of deal. And now that Rodgers is with the Jets, that's natural. You just got to avoid that stuff. Why are you even? I mean, I guess you could watch it for content purposes.
Yeah, no, it's strictly for content, and it makes me believe that they're going to sign up for Hard Knocks because they're cool with the publicity. But it was the most ridiculous thing. Yes, I know, Ernie. It was 40 minutes. I watched the whole damn thing, and I regret it.
You're like Mark Wahlberg in The Other Guys when he pretends that he's like bullying other people and like he's like, yeah, I practiced ballet just to make fun of these people that did ballet at school, and then he's like really good at it. That's you watching these Rodgers videos.
Whoa, the new bath mats are in.
The new bath mats are in. No, I get that one. There's a couple that did interest me, and I know we're gonna get to the big one today, which I think is going to be the only story we'll remember from OTAs. But another one,
that's what I'm leading up to.
Another one from the Niners camp though was Christian McCaffrey, and hearing that he's like going a full 100%, like as if it's a mid-season practice.
Oh, is he? Well, I'm not surprised
at OTAs. I'm not surprised at all. Like one thing I've learned, I've listened to a few interviews with him, mainly on the like. Obviously, I've listened to like all his pressers. Where, to be honest, he's like he seems like such a serious individual. And then, but then you listen to him on with Bussin' with the Boys, and yeah, he's got a little sense of humor, and it's not like he's just football. But this guy is just like full go all the time. Like this is how he, like, I don't even think it's him necessarily even understanding like he's doing this during OTAs when you don't have to. He's doing this because it's football, and I kind of
Yeah.
love it. But at the same time, it's like we forgot last year that he has been marred by injury in his career, and that could be part of it. Sometimes, taking it easy, you don't need to go the full 100%. But at the same time, he's been doing this for his entire life. I think like Ed McCaffrey, his dad seemed to have a pretty strict routine for him and his brothers, so they could like get to where they're at. And I mean, it's no mistake as to why he's one of the more like just freakish athletes in the NFL. The dude's unbelievable. I hope he stays healthy. I'm not saying that he shouldn't go 100%. Like, do whatever you want. I'm not going to be the one to tell you how to do your job. But like, I just hope he stays healthy, man, because that dude can do everything. And it feels like no matter who the quarterback is for the 49ers, it feels like when Christian McCaffrey is there, they could be successful. Like when Shanahan said that he's like Steph Curry and that he makes things that much easier for everybody else. It just opens things up for everybody. I can agree with that. So I think that's also where the quarterback thing kind of falls flat. Like, it's not a case of like who's the better fit, who's this, who's that. Like with the amount of talent that they have, and with Christian McCaffrey, if you do manage to somehow fail with this roster, then you're probably not an NFL ready quarterback if you can't excel with those guys.
Well, we shall see. There is going to be a interesting quarterback competition this summer. Not that I think that there's much of a competition to begin with. I think if Brock Purdy's healthy, he's going to play. Just a matter of who's going to be the backup. Is it going to be Trey Lance or Sam Darnold? And then we get to the whole conversation of if Trey Lance is third, how long until he's shipped out? Or now, because of the new NFL rule where you can keep 3 quarterbacks, is there a need to? Are teams going to want to lose to get Caleb Williams as opposed to trading for Trey Lance? That's all we got all summer for that shit. But as far as today,
and let me just say one thing. Can I get kind of one more to kind of put a bow on this quarterback thing? And sorry,
put the bow on it.
Jesse informed me of this. When I'm looking at the TV, it looks like I'm not paying attention to you. I promise I'm also paying attention to you, but I'm also paying attention
I rarely
to what's
pay
going
attention
on.
to you, so it's all good.
Good enough. But
I'm glad.
No,
I'm glad your future wife that was looking out for me.
I think. I think that
she gave me napkins at the Greek Fest. So nice.
She is very she can be very motherly in that way. She likes to I don't know, she gets a kick out of taking care of people. But she's a people person. But I think with Lance and Purdy, like if Purdy's ready by training camp, I think they'd be doing a disservice to it, not least let him start for a couple of weeks and see if he's the same guy after that torn UCL, because there's no guarantee he's that same guy they had last year just after going through surgery. And it's like, he's going to look like the Purdy that he looked like in rookie season. There's no guarantee of that, but leading to the NFC Championship, that does mean something. So like I'll just say this right now. I'd be very surprised if Purdy, if he's ready. That's a big if, but if he's ready, then I would not be surprised one bit if he's the starter, at least for the first few weeks, to see where they're at.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I think that the if there is any new development, it's that he's going to start throwing next week, but not actually practicing. So I think he'll be ready by training camp. So we'll see what happens after that. I think that we have plenty of time to get into this whole quarterback debate with the 49ers. As far as the Raiders, there is no quarterback debate. It's Jimmy Garoppolo. And whether Devontae Adams likes it or not, and we'll get to that a little bit too. But today, it came out that Jimmy Garoppolo was not going to participate in OTAs because he had a second foot surgery that no one knew about. And it was after signing with the Raiders. Now, we all know that he signed with the Raiders, and then he was going to have a press conference, but then that press conference was delayed one day, and, us in the Bay Area, following the Carlos Correa situation, once you delay a press conference now, we're all like, shit, did he fail his physical? And we all know with Gary Payton II with the Warriors, failed physicals seem to be happening a lot in sports. It's a different era now where things are announced before they're completed. So when things don't go to the liking of the team and everything, and then everybody gets mad because they were all hyped on the news that broke. But regardless, Jimmy Garoppolo, he so the latest now is that he's not going to be ready to play or throw, I guess, until training camp, maybe. The report is that he'll be ready for the start of the season, but it's not a definitive thing that he'll be ready by training camp, which concerns me a little bit just because I know that Jimmy Garoppolo knows this offense from his days with Josh McDaniels in New England, but he hasn't played with Devontae Adams. He hasn't played with Jacoby Myers. He hasn't played with all these new guys. It would be extremely beneficial if he was out there on the field and practicing.
Mhm.
And if this was a plan all along, I'm not ready to freak out yet because again, it's just OTA time. But I don't like the way that this has been set up. So they knew about the foot. They were okay with him getting a second surgery. They seem kind of lackadaisical about the whole thing, to be honest. Um, then again, it just goes to the whole process of them thinking that Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be a better quarterback than Derek Carr, or maybe they don't. Maybe it's just this is what it is. This is what it's going to be. But yeah, a little concerning. And also, there was reports last year that Jimmy Garoppolo could have been back to play in the NFC Championship game if needed, but I guess there was a falling out between him and Kyle Shanahan over that. Who knows? Tim Kawakami had the report. Don't know if it's true or not, but I don't know. This seems kind of shady by Jimmy and Don Yee, where 2 years in a row now they have withheld a injury to better Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yeah, but the only thing is, I don't know how this one is going to better Jimmy Garoppolo, like in this instance, because
he got a contract.
He got the contract first and then got surgery. Like that's what I'm finding confusing. Did the 40 like what I read from the article was the 49ers doctors are the ones who said at the time that he did not require surgery.
Yes.
That he had a fracture, the type of fracture that does not require surgery. Well, that seems a little bland to me because obviously he did have some sort of fracture that did require surgery. He probably just wasn't willing to go through it. And maybe he tried to work back onto the field. I don't know. But here's my whole thing. For one, how does it, you go from an injury not needing surgery to 2 months later, oh yeah, you do need it. And then my guess is, though, this is just purely speculation. I don't know what's going on, but McDaniels to me seems that arrogant, to where he says I can make like a high school quarterback an all pro or something like that. I think that's a quote from him. He's that arrogant to where maybe he's talking with team doctors and they say, he doesn't need the surgery. Like he could probably play without it. There's might be a little more risk involved. But with the surgery, that it's going to be fully repaired going into the season. The risk is you're not going to get him for the offseason. And my guess is McDaniels is like, yeah, you know what? He knows the offense. He knows the offense. We don't even need that offseason work. Like, that's basically what he told the media.
Is that what he said today?
Not today, but I remember him saying just 100 days don't matter, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, yeah, they do. They absolutely do matter. But
yeah, they do.
He's arrogant in thinking that they don't. So
if we learned anything, sorry, go ahead.
I just think that this whole thing is, it's off to about as bumpy of a start as could possibly be. But at the same time, what am I supposed to expect from the Raiders? Really, what am I supposed to expect? A year where they go 10-7 and 10-8 and somehow, or 10-7, excuse me. Jesus.
Yeah. You got it
right. Somehow they go 10-7 and squeak their way into the playoffs via wild card. No. So I their whole plan here. It's flawed. They haven't built the offensive line. We haven't really addressed that too much, but their offensive line was subpar last year. I don't think that's gotten any better. It's just this season, I think, is kind of a lost cause, to be honest, for the Raiders.
Already?
Yeah, man, it's been that way, though. It's been that way.
I wouldn't go that far yet, but I will say that if we learned anything from last year, it's that practice is important. If we learn anything from Matthew Stafford and all the reports of his own, what was it, his UCL thing or whatever elbow issue he had, and he had minimal participation in training camp, and that led to him not being on the same page with Allen Robinson at all. The only guy that he trusted in that offense was Cooper Kupp.
Right.
So if this was Derek Carr coming back again from a season that he already played with Davante Adams and Josh McDaniels and all that stuff, that I would feel like, okay, well, whatever. With Jimmy, he's a brand new quarterback. So it's not beneficial to have Brian Hoyer or Aiden O'Connell be the guys leading the charge in training camp. So if he's not back by training camp, I think that is detrimental to the team going forward. And it's already detrimental to begin with because, again, we're not thinking this is an upgrade. This whole offseason has, I mean, Davante Adams is not on the same page with the front office. I disagree with everything they've done so far. I think they've made some good moves here or there. I like the draft picks with Tyree Wilson and Michael Mayer, but they didn't address a quarterback, and maybe they shouldn't have because I wasn't really high on any quarterbacks in the draft as well with what was feasible. But also, everything is just, suggested that they're going to be not as good as what was projected last season. They may be better. I have no idea. But on paper, they're not as good as what was projected last season. I think that's why Davante Adams is upset because he was joining a 10-7 playoff team with him being added. They had Darren Waller. They had Hunter Renfrow, and we're still waiting on Hunter Renfrow to be traded. So everything suggests that it's not going to be as good as even a season ago, and they went 6-11 last year. So I don't know. I think they got to the point where they found out about the foot, and he needed another surgery. And at that point, Mark Davis and Josh McDaniels and Dave Ziegler all get in a room and be like, do we really want to yank this contract away from Jimmy? Are we that really nervous about it that he won't be able to play at all? We've already got, expectations, and we already got the news that Jimmy's coming to town. We got the press conference set up. We might as well go through with this and see if he's ready to play. And he most likely will be. I just don't like that he's going to have limited preparation. If he's not there by training camp, then I'll be a little nervous about this. So right now, it's like, damn it, what the hell's going on here? But if it prolongs, then we got an issue.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I don't know. I'll say this too. Like, I don't like the way they handled Derek Carr at the end of last year. It obviously didn't work out. But one thing that I gathered from last year was Carr was. It's hard to see if he even had, a ceiling anymore. Like, it was just hard to see it from last year. He didn't look like the same quarterback. And I'm still like, no matter how terrible this offseason's already gone for the Raiders, I've always, like, I got asked like 3 times today, like, would you rather have Carr still on the team? Blah, blah, blah. They shouldn't have done this stuff with Carr. A lot of people getting angry that Aiden O'Connell's taken number 4. It's like, what? But I don't know. That ship had sailed. And I'm telling you, like, when the New Orleans Saints see him on the road in December, like, I don't even know what the Saints schedule is. I'd have to look that up. But when they see him on the road in December, it's not going to be September, October, November. We're going to see prime Derek Carr in that place. Car's going to look really good. And then it's going to start to get a little colder. And then that's when Carr starts to dwindle.
He plays in a dome.
It doesn't matter. Even if he goes away, is what I'm talking about. Then his play starts to dwindle. It's not like I'm just telling you, like, he's going to look like an MVP probably in September and October because he has a point to prove. But after that, that's when things I think are going to get interesting.
Well, I mean, if you said right now who's the best team in the NFC South, I would say the Saints hands down because everything else looks like not great to me. Like, the Falcons could be really good. But again, I'm not really buying Desmond Ridder. We got to see what happens with Bryce Young. Baker Mayfield is already looking terrible in OTAs, but then again, it's OTAs. So I'm waiting to have judgment on whether or not giving away Derek was a bad idea. And we got to see how Jimmy looks. If Jimmy plays better than Derek, then it was a success. But I'm just going to wait and see how it actually goes. And now, I mean, like, it's another thing with Jimmy with injuries. It's always been a problem with him since his days in New England. He filled in those 4 games, or 3 games actually, or two games for the Patriots when Tom Brady was suspended for Deflategate, and he broke his shoulder against the Miami Dolphins. Kiko Alonso had him on a blitz,
Yeah.
and it's been plagued his whole career with the Niners. He had a great 2017 when he filled in for those last 6 games, whatever it was, and then he tore his ACL against the Chiefs, and then he came back against or he came back in 2019 and had a good season. Then he got hurt again, and he got hurt again. It's just been a never-ending thing with him. So it's not a good start with Jimmy Garoppolo's time with the Raiders, and it's especially not a good start considering that Devontae Adams has been saying all these things. We already talked about what he said in the Ringer article, how him and the front office are not on the same page, and it's pretty clear that Devontae Adams thinks the way that you and I do, and most Raider fans, where it was maybe time to move on from Derek Carr, but at the same time, it was not a upgrade. And everything that they've done since he came aboard has suggested we're not really trying to compete with the rest of the AFC West or even the AFC or trying to even win a Super Bowl. If we do, that's great. But we're trying to build something for the long game. And I think their philosophy changed. It went from Dave Ziegler and Josh McDaniels being like, we're attached to a playoff team now. And all we got to do is just, you know, fulfill their potential. And then they started to play and they realized we're not as good as we think we are. Let's kind of rebuild things with Devontae Adams. And Devontae Adams is sitting there being like, damn it. I thought I was ready to win a Super Bowl. That's why I left Green Bay. And now we're doing a whole fucking rebuild again. Like, this is frustrating. Because they really haven't answered their quarterback situation for the long haul. Like Jimmy Garoppolo, I think this is a 1-year thing. And then he may be the fill-in guy for whoever they draft. But that's probably frustrating Devontae Adams to a certain extent. He's 30 years old. He doesn't know how much longer he's going to play. So I get the frustration and why he voiced that, but he's gone back a little bit now. So got some clips to play from Devontae Adams. Do you have the one from I Am Athlete? We'll play a little bit of I Am Athlete today. They're interviewing a lot of wide receivers these days, disgruntled wide receivers. Do you have the one of him? Yeah, so this is him kind of backing his comments about Jimmy Garoppolo and not being on the same page with the front office.
I'm ecstatic that Jimmy's here. Jimmy's a great guy. I've been around him a lot now. Spend a lot of time at the facility when we're doing these workouts. And I like the guy that he is. And obviously we all working to get healthy to be in a great spot to where we can go out there and have a good year. And I'm very optimistic about it. And I'm ecstatic that Jimmy's here. Jimmy's a great guy.
Yeah, there's also a portion of that clip, or not that clip, but in that interview where he says, "Yeah, I wanted Aaron Rodgers. I let it be known to the organization that I wanted Aaron Rodgers, and they weren't on the same page as me. And once we got Jimmy Garoppolo, my reaction was like, oh, I didn't know that Jimmy Garoppolo was available. No, I'm not buying that. Like, you're not going to say, like, I want Aaron Rodgers. We'll get Jimmy Garoppolo. Oh, well, I didn't know Jimmy Garoppolo was available. Like, Devontae Adams is not stupid. Like, he knows that the link of Josh McDaniels to Jimmy Garoppolo. So I think it's now just him trying to look good for everybody involved that he's on board with Jimmy Garoppolo, even though I'm sure in the back of his mind, he's like, this is not really an upgrade to me. And then he went into more details today with a presser after OTAs, and we'll play this, a little lengthy, but just him talking about the perception that he's angry with the Raiders about how the front office has made their decisions.
Well, I mean, it's not really setting the record straight. I mean, I think a lot of things get taken out of context when you don't have an interview to look at or people don't know the full story. So at the end of the day, I mean, there's going to be opinions and there's going to be, you're not always going to see things the exact same way, but when you've earned a right to have an opinion or you see things a certain way, or even, going into the operation this offseason, obviously, I made poke fun at having Aaron here a lot, and why would I not talk about having, best quarterback to play the game and a guy who I have a lot of history with. So that's who I had on my mind initially. So, that was never a slight at Jimmy. I didn't even know we were, pursuing Jimmy. So it had nothing to do with any of that. And then obviously I put something on social media saying, don't hit me up. Don't stop hitting me up if I haven't talked to you recently. Don't hit me up about this stuff. And that was, I already said what that was about. That was clearing up the whole, me just getting bombarded with messages like, oh, what's going on? How you feel about this and this and that? So, I mean, that could have been anybody. But at the end of the day, like I said a couple times now, I'm ecstatic to get to work with the new guys, and Jimmy's a great guy, love him to death. I didn't know him very well before he got here, but getting to work together a little bit, be around each other, getting to know him, he's a great guy, and definitely excited to get to work with him and everybody else that's in here. As far as the front office, I mean, I haven't had a relationship in the past. This is 10 years for me in this game, and I haven't had a relationship like what I have with those guys. So everything's get taken out of context. I wouldn't be here. I mean, I told you guys right after the Derek thing, I was here to stay and I wasn't going anywhere. So you can grab something and run with it if you want, just to get clicks, and that's what people often do with me and things that I say, whether I misspeak or if I speak up. But at the end of the day, I'm a Raider, and I'm excited to be here. I love my head coach, and I love the general manager here and everybody. I mean, from the top to the bottom. So um, I have no reason to lie. I mean, one thing I don't do is BS, so I'm not gonna make anything up when it comes to that. I'd rather keep my mouth closed if I have negative things to say. But when I say that these are some good men in this place that I really value the relationship that I have with them, I mean that. So that's about all that needs to be said for that.
So,
Your thoughts?
well, I'm going to say right away that I still love everything that he said. I love that he's called out the organization, and I love that he says, "Look, if Jimmy's going to have to prove it to me in order to make it work." Now, I don't know what he means taken out of context, though, because in an entire article, like that's the whole point of these interviews is they show the context. So I don't really know what he means there. And you know what, though? Like, maybe, you said, like, oh, he's not stupid. He knows that Jimmy's available. Maybe he doesn't pay attention. Like, these guys are so rich. They have 9-figure contracts. Like, these guys got other things to do. Like, me and you, we're just a couple of losers who just have to look up this stuff all the time because we got nothing else to do.
Well, not you, Steven. You're not watching 40-minute documentaries on Aaron Rodgers going to the Jets.
Yeah, well, I'm watching a bunch of other YouTube stuff. I'm just not watching that. But like, no, I think that I mean, there's a certain level of damage control that he's doing, but I also think that if anyone thought he was speaking out of turn, then you're gonna have to try and convince me somehow that like the whole that's ultimately the whole thing with Rodgers. That's ultimately going to be the one big fail to me. If there's going to be anything that was happened this offseason, it was you had a chance to upgrade, which you would have with Rodgers. I don't care about everything that's kind of put out about him and the way that he makes himself out to be in the media. I don't know. I think Rodgers is one of those guys where if you met him, he'd probably be really cool. So I don't know. I'm kind of like, I'm just at the point where I'm going to more side with the player in this situation. And what he said, if I take that out of context, whatever, but he sounded like he was being critical of the organization, which he should be, because they did not have an offseason where, they look like they could be a Super Bowl caliber team and look like they can compete with the likes of the Chiefs and the Chargers, the Jags, the Bengals, the Bills, the Jets, all those teams in the AFC.
Do you believe him when he says he wants to be a Raider?
Well, yeah. Yeah, I believe that. Because it's his hometown team. I can understand all that. Like, and
it's also the team that's paying him the second most money as a wide receiver in football.
There's also that, though. That's the thing, is they're the one team that's willing to pay him the amount that he wanted. So yeah, of course he'd like to be there for that amount of money.
And that's the reason I think that he's putting up with it. I'm with you, Steven. I don't have a problem with what he said. I just think that it's not going to help. There's better ways of going about things than saying things to the media and then it being dissected. I think since Davante Adams has arrived with the Raiders, he's had two quotes or two big statements that have been, in his words, misquoted or out of context. It was originally last year when he said, "You're going from MVP to MVP with Aaron Rodgers to Derek Carr," and he had to circle back on that one. And now it's this. And also, I'm surprised none of the oh no, it was Hall of Famer to Hall of Famer. That's what he said. Hall of Famer from Aaron Rodgers to Hall of Famer and Derek Carr. And everybody was like, "Whoa, what's up with that?"
Yeah.
And I'm surprised nobody like Paul Gutierrez could have been funny today, but like, so you don't think Jimmy Garoppolo is a Hall of Famer?
Yeah.
Um, which would have caused more problems. But I think that he just spoke a little bit too much in the Ringer article, and now he's got to kind of dial it back in because he knows that it can't be a talking point all offseason that Davante Adams doesn't want Jimmy Garoppolo to be his quarterback. And I would love to know more details of why the Raiders passed on Aaron Rodgers. It sounds like Rodgers in that Pat McAfee interview was willing to come to the Raiders. But it sounds like they just have a different philosophy. And I kind of get it. Like, I guess Josh McDaniels doesn't want to change his offense for an entire season just to accommodate Aaron Rodgers. He'd be willing to do it for Tom Brady, and I guess that was the initial plan. Now that Tom Brady's a minority owner, everyone's going to say he's going to pull a Jackie Moon eventually and come play for the Raiders, but I don't see that happening right now. So I think everything was in place for Tom Brady to join the Raiders, and then he just decided to retire. So I don't know. I think Davante's trying his best to look good now and not cause a problem. But I do think that we all kind of know the real truth is that he's not thrilled about this. And he's going to be on a team this season where he's not sure that they're going to compete. And that's his whole goal, is to win a Super Bowl. That's the next quote he says is, "I'm all about winning a Super Bowl. So if you guys are trying to put words in my mouth and you're bored, go play Monopoly or some shit." So I think he's going to get frustrated this season. And it's just a matter of, are the Raiders going to piss off another, Hall of Fame spectacular wide receiver? They pissed off Randy Moss, Antonio Brown. He was just a nutcase. Is the arrogance of Josh McDaniels going to really fracture this relationship with Davante Adams? And I think it's a real possibility it could.
Well, that also goes with the hiring of him too. I'm telling it. Again, it starts with Mark Davis. He felt that Josh McDaniels was the guy, him and Ziegler. It's like, oh, I got this pair from New England. They understand winning, but in the end, I mean, so far, what do you want to call that? An A+ hire? No, it's not an A+ hire. Like it's if anything, it's like a C-. I think that's being generous.
Well, okay, I'll ask you this. Would you think they'd be in a better position now with Rich Bisaccia and Mike Mayock?
Well, I can't answer that. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. But like I also think that Carr, he had his moments, and I think he was also hindered by just another entire offense that he has to learn. And instead of maybe McDaniels asking what Carr's best at and working through that, instead McDaniels was going to go through his style of play. Like I ultimately think it comes down to the hire. And right now, McDaniels, from everything we've heard behind the scenes, like from other players and stuff, it seems like whoever we see at these press conferences is not as humble of an individual as he makes himself out to be at these things. So, I think, it's just, ever since Gruden, man, even the Gruden hire, like the fact that it even got to the point where they needed to hire a new head coach, like it shouldn't have got to this, man. It just shouldn't have got to this. Everything's a mess.
You talking about with Gruden, or you talking about with McDaniels?
Both. I'm saying there's like a chain effect here, the domino effect. It's like you hire Gruden back when the team was starting to roll, they blow it up, make a whole bunch of terrible moves, and in that meantime, you got the Chiefs who are growing a guy who's potentially one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, in Patrick Mahomes, a couple of Super Bowl winners. You got the Chargers who are building their team with a Justin Herbert who they might make it so he has one less rib when he's done playing. Like that's what it's looking like there. And then, the Broncos are the Broncos. The Broncos are kind of ruining things themselves, but who knows? What if that Sean Payton hire is a home run hire and makes all the difference in the world? There's just, yeah. It's just, it felt like the time to strike was then in 2017, 2018, and they didn't. And now it's just led to all of this.
Well, I understand why they did these moves because it sounds good initially.
Right.
Like you have all this talent and they go out and get a big name offensive minded coach. And instead, the ego and the arrogance of that head coach has led to, in my opinion, 2 unnecessary rebuilds. Because Darren Waller's gone, and we'll get to Darren Waller in a minute here. Josh Jacobs, he's gonna wear number 8 this season, but I think I signed him to a new contract. They just don't. The coaches that they have decided to go with, John Gruden and Josh McDaniels, decide that the players that they have are not good enough, and they want their guys. So whatever success that happened the previous year, whether it was Amari Cooper or Khalil Mack or the guys that were on the Raiders a year ago, it's not going to be good for them in the long haul, which is just laziness to me. Like, if you're a good coach, develop your players. It's different with like Steve Kerr and James Wiseman, where it's just like, we got a championship team. Let's roll now. I don't have time to teach James Wiseman. With the Raiders, we saw the potential. We saw Darren Waller have a Pro Bowl or multiple Pro Bowl seasons. We saw Amari Cooper have a great season in 2016. And yet these coaches just said, I'm not worth it. I want to have my hand in the pie. I want to be able to do what I want to do. And it's just annoying. It's annoying when I think that the Raiders made smart moves to acquire talent. And in the end, these coaches are like, nah, not my type of guy. Hunter Renfrow, we're going to find a new spot for you. It's just annoying. It's what it comes down to. And I totally understand what Davante Adams is going through, because he thought he was going to a Super Bowl team, and now it's not going to be that. It's a rebuild team. They're lucky to be 8-9, 9-8 this season, and they'll grow, but that's got to piss him off as well.
Yeah. And that's the worst place. We talked about it last week, dude. That's the worst place they could be. Middle of the road, right there, 8-9, because you're just not going to get anything.
Yeah. We saw Darren Waller, wear number 12, which is weird. But we discussed that before. At Giants OTAs today, and had a very interesting quote, I'll say, about his new team, the Giants.
We value our opinions here, and as a player, I feel like a lot of places I've gone, it's you're told to do things a certain way, and you do those things, and but here it's like they ask a lot of questions. They want to know what you're thinking, why, what would you like to do more, and so to offer input is a really cool thing. Because coaches and players got to be in partnership. We're all together and shouldn't be clashing with each other. We're all going in the same direction. Value our opinion.
Oh. So yeah, Darren Waller's saying there that the Giants organization and coaches value the opinions of their players. And the biggest criticism we've heard of Josh McDaniels is it's his way or the highway. It was the biggest thing in that player survey. And we've heard that Darren Waller's, he's had his, I guess, issues with Josh McDaniels, from the trade to divulging information about his marriage. And I think Darren Waller, I guess, has voiced his displeasure with the acquisition of Jimmy Garoppolo, and he was expecting Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers. So when you hear Darren Waller say that, you think it's a direct shot at Josh McDaniels?
I think it confirms everything we talked about. It's like, everywhere I've been, what are you talking about? How many places have you been in the NFL? You've been to like 3 different teams, or this is your third team only. And the thing with him being a part of the Ravens is they had established themselves as that type of team. Like the 49ers, I don't know this to be certain, but they don't, like, Kyle Shanahan doesn't strike me as a guy that's, going to, he's going to get the input of a little bit of these players, but it's going to be his way. But the thing is, Shanahan has proven that it works and that he can dominate, and that's why the players respect it. But McDaniels hasn't proven anything except for, hey, I could run this style of offense with the greatest quarterback of all time, but not with anybody else. So it just confirms everything, man. Confirms everything. Like, there's no other way around it. Plus, there's also a little, there's a little, like you mentioned, all the stuff that happened with the wedding. There's a little saltiness there, no doubt. But it's absolutely true. And that's why guys love Brian Daboll so much. Maybe that's why Brian Daboll was able to thrive with the Buffalo Bills, although they are still thriving. But even the Bills, though, like, remember this year we were watching the Bills, like, man, even though Josh Allen can do it all, he literally has to do it all.
Mhm.
like so. I don't know, man. That this whole thing is just, again, it's just turning into one big, not one big mess. But it's like the earnings
Yeah.
are saying here. Besides, Russell Wilson looks thinner than last season. That's interesting, I guess. Um, but like Ernie says here, it starts at the top. It does start at the
Yeah.
top, and you can trace it all the way back. Like, that's the thing, man. We're so caught up in what's happening recently. But I take the A's Stadium situation, for example.
Mhm.
Like, this did not start in 10 years ago when they decided they were going to look for a new ballpark. This did not start 20 years ago when they decided that they were going to look for a new ballpark. This started back in the 80s when Lou Wolf became their owner, and even with and then subsequently John Fisher. Like, both guys kind of have the same mindset, and it's just it's just a domino effect, man. It's a domino effect, and until things change at the top, I don't know if Tom Brady is going to be a full-time guy, but he's going to go with whatever Josh McDaniels wants to do, and he's going to support them. So as long as there's the ownership like this, I don't see a Jed York type of turnaround, because I've never seen anything like that in sports, really. Like, 49er fans had soured on Jed York. They hated Jed York in 2016.
And now you don't hear a
and
lot
then-
from him.
And then 7 years later, it's like
Yeah.
he's this knight in shining armor everywhere that he goes, because he has done something to build a winning culture. And right now, Mark Davis has not made that sort of decision.
Well, he wants to steal it from the Patriots, basically. That's why
Yeah.
he got Josh McDaniels. That's why he got Dave Ziegler, and that's why Tom Brady's attached to the hip with him. I don't think Tom Brady's going to be, at every Raider game. I think it's going to be like a Buster Posey thing. Like, have we seen Buster Posey in any Giants games this year?
I mean, not that I know of.
So he's just a consultant, I think, at this point. And yes, if Tom Brady's around, I think he's cool with the New England way, the Patriot way. And he likes Josh McDaniels, obviously. So I don't know. I don't know if this is the right way of going about things, because as we saw with Josh in Denver, his arrogance got the better of him. And he was known as being a cocky, arrogant head coach. And I thought that would change. I thought that he was more humble in his time, going back to New England, being an offensive coordinator, but maybe not.
That's it, man. That's it. Like, that was what that's what we were banking on when they hired him. We were like, you remember that? You remember that show? We're like, man, this seems like they have a direction now.
Yeah.
They got Ziegler, they got McDaniels. They're coming from the Patriots. They don't want to turn this into the Patriots way. They want to do their own thing. They've made it pretty clear. Well, you could talk the talk, but then when you walk in the red, white, and blue on the red, white, and blue path all the way to Vegas and trying to turn that thing from the Death Star into the, I don't know, the July 4th themed Roomba, like, I don't know where I came up with that. But dude,
Roomba's
it's
work.
just-
Roomba's work.
they can, not the Samsung ones though. That's the thing. Allegiant Stadium, not a Roomba, because a Roomba, very productive. Right now, Allegiant Stadium is like a Samsung vacuum,
Okay.
like one
I'll tell-
Samsung Roombas. And I only know that because I have one, and it doesn't work too well.
I'm sure it's better than my vacuum. I told you my story last week where I spilled garlic salt all over my my floor. I broke the glass and the salt, and my vacuum could not handle it. So I had to pick it all up with a paper towel. Anyway,
Dude, a big regret I have, I'm going to talk vacuums real quick. A big regret I have moving from the old apartment.
you talking
I didn't-
Hoovers?
I'm not talking Hoovers. I'm talking Sharks. This was a Shark
Oh.
vacuum. We got one for free on Buy Nothing. And if you know what Buy Nothing is, it's basically it's almost like a Facebook marketplace type of site.
Yeah.
People put stuff up on there, but they're not selling it. They're giving it away for free. People put the most random things on there. It's bizarre.
Like Steve Moskowitz? They're giving it
I'm
away for
not-
free.
Something like that. But I'm not kidding that people put like a single donut on there and say, hey, we got a dozen donuts. We have one left over. Willing to give it to anybody. Here's my address if you want to come pick it up. I'm not kidding. People put that stuff on there. Like, that's what Buy Nothing kind of, it's not all that, but people are that crazy to where they will. But someone gave us a free vacuum. Worked out very well. And when we were moving the very last day, I had zero room to put the vacuum in my car, so I just left it there. And now they have my vacuum. and I don't have a vacuum here. The Samsung thing sucks, and I mean, it's not too bad, but could use a little sweep up here.
Yeah, I know. When you own an apartment, by yourself, you start to think about like, well, damn, how do I not have a dustpan or a mop or just simple things?
Wait, you don't have a dustpan?
I don't.
Jesus Christ, Eric, you got to get a
Well,
dustpan, man.
I'm sorry, you just said you don't have a vacuum. Can't judge
Yeah,
me.
a vacuum. I have a broom and a dustpan. I'm not
need to go get
psychotic.
those things.
Yes, you do.
Sorry, it just slipped my mind. I guess I don't think about these things until I spill garlic salt all over my apartment.
Absolutely. No, well, you don't have like a back patio, right? You just have
No.
you have the room, and
It does get
you
dusty
don't
in
have.
here, and I do need to be more tidy.
Yeah.
Cleaning supplies is an essential for living by yourself. Anyway, yeah, Raiders. We'll see what happens because it's not looking good.
Oh boy.
Real quick on this.
Phoebe, get off.
You all right? Jump on the
Sorry.
table.
Yeah, look, man. I got her some flowers. Jessie, that is.
Yeah.
I got her some flowers, and Phoebe keeps on picking at them.
Gotta let cats be cats, man.
What
Although
is that,
be
a
careful,
John
though.
Gruden? What?
Be careful though. Some cats don't react well to eating certain flowers.
Yikes. Yeah, that might not be good. But
Yeah,
she didn't eat any. She's just like clawing at it. It's very annoying.
Anyway,
We're fine.
one thing of the offseason I've been waiting on for a while now is DeAndre Hopkins finding a new team, and I thought that was done. I actually never thought it was done. I just thought that it was kind of put to rest for a little while when he made that one video where he was like, "Who said I wanted to leave? Who said I wanted to go anywhere?" And he was at the Cardinals facility. I was not buying it. I thought that he was just making, good with the team for now, so he doesn't look like he's going to be a head case, and then they're eventually going to get rid of him because it sounds like he wants to go to the Buffalo Bills really badly. Like you mentioned Josh Allen earlier, Steven, they asked him in this interview on I Am Athlete who is top 5 quarterbacks on the NFL, and he did not mention Kyler Murray, the current quarterback that he is employed with on the Arizona Cardinals. He said Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts. Who else did he say? He said Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert. I forget who else was on that list. And then they asked him straight up, like, what do you look for in an organization? And he's answering all these questions as if he's not wanting to be with the Arizona Cardinals. He says that, they asked him, are you going to be at OTAs for the Cardinals? He says, no, I'm actually in Toronto. Toronto, close to Buffalo. So Brandon Marshall asks him about what he looks for in an organization. This is the clip.
Because the last 2 years, we haven't seen too much of you, right? And the situation hasn't been awesome around you. So I'm excited about that. Before we move on, Kyler, bro, why does everybody give Kyler Murray such a hard time? You even had Larry Fitzgerald come out and talk about a few things there. What I see is a guy that...
Is that the right clip?
wait.
Am I playing?
No.
Am I playing the right clip?
55, I want to say. It's around 55. 55, 54, I want to say.
55, 54. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
All right. Here we go.
You're,
Take
you're,
two.
You're fine there.
and I can still dominate and still do my thing and contribute at a high level. So for you, what is happening? What do you want? And what are you looking forward to?
What I want is stable management upstairs. I think that's something that I haven't really had, past couple years in my career, coming from Houston to being in Arizona. So I've been through 3 to 4 GMs in my career. So a stable management, a QB who loves the game, a QB who, brings everybody on board with him and pushes not just himself, but, people around him. I don't need a great QB. I've done it with subpar QBs, just a QB who loves the game like I do.
Tom Savage disrespect.
And a great defense. I think defense wins championships. For me, I think that's the key. You got to have a great defense. You got to have a great D line, and
You obviously, just like you said, you meet with people. I have a council of friends who are not just my friends, but they're my business managers as well. So we go in depth about these things, and that's why I love this process. I love this game. Teaches you a lot.
Wait, hold on.
And for me, that's
Huh.
Wait.
it. Great management, QB who loves the game, and a great defense.
So out of those three things that you mentioned currently in Arizona, how many of them would you say exist?
This is Monty's first year as a GM, but from what I understand, and for me talking to Monty, I think that Arizona is in good hands. So I can't speak on much. He hasn't really been the GM longer, that much longer, other than this year. Obviously, he came from the Patriots, but I would say our defense in Arizona is good. We got Budda Baker, Isaiah Simmons.
Budda Baker asked for a trade, I thought.
He's still on the roster from what I know. So, until he's off the Arizona Cardinals,
D-Hop, I like to get messy, D-Hop. I'm getting messy.
So then you would say 2 out of the 3 it currently exists in Arizona.
Hell no.
No, I mean, you did the quarterback. I think Kyler is a quarterback who loves the game as well, but he's injured. So right now for me, I'm playing with Colt McCoy, who I love, but who knows? So right now, I don't currently have a Pro Bowl quarterback or a quarterback who I would say could
Look at you.
Hey God. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's enough. Oh my
We
God.
got it. He was
But-
trying his best, but he's doing the Devontae Adams thing where he's saying, yeah, Arizona, you got Kyler Murray, but Colt McCoy is going to be the quarterback, and
Bro. But that's the thing, man. I feel like I've said that a lot today. That's the thing, man. Maybe
good
you should change
impression
the name of the show.
yourself.
Thanks. Thank you. I get where they're coming from. Like, if they don't want people to take their words out of context, or if they don't want people to run wild, then they shouldn't do interviews. But like DeAndre Hopkins and Devontae Adams are 2 of the game's best. And yes, I remember Ernie when Ward called him steroid boy, but that takes away from the fact that Hopkins is probably like, I mean, if he had any stability anywhere, he'd be known as the best wide receiver in football, in my opinion. Like, that dude really was doing it with not even subpar quarterbacks. He was being generous there. He was doing it with quarterbacks that didn't belong in the NFL. He was doing it with Ryan Mallett, for God's sakes. Like, Hopkins has had probably some of the strongest hands that I've ever seen. One of the coldest moments I've ever seen was in that Texans Hard Knocks thing where he went up against D'Angelo Hall, and he's like, I feel God, boy. That was sick. And but now he's traded to the Cardinals. Kyler Murray, the #1 overall pick. All right, you got your young quarterback now. It's time for we're going to make a run. And then seeing everything that the NFLPA did as far as like their report cards and how low the Cardinals graded compared to all these other teams, it's got to be a mess out there in Arizona. So I don't blame him for wanting to get out of that situation. But he's under contract for a lot of money, and that's really the sticking point here.
Yeah, that's the thing. And, he even mentions, like, they asked him straight up, like, we saw your video where you said, who says I wants to leave? Who said I wants to go? He was like, that wasn't me saying I want to stay in Arizona. And I love that he was trying his best to make it seem like, well, I'm not saying that Kyler Murray doesn't want to win and blah. The truth is the Arizona Cardinals are going to be bad this season. They're going to be really bad. They've accumulated a bunch of draft picks for the future, so they'll be right. But as far as the here and now, they're not going to have Kyler Murray for most of the season. He tore his ACL in December. So like he said, he's playing with Colt McCoy or whoever the hell. So I wouldn't be surprised if this nice guy routine from DeAndre Hopkins, while he is kind of like going on multiple shows and saying like, I don't, this is what I'm looking for. Like, remember when he did the whole like facial expressions of what team he wants to play for? Like, he's trying his best, but at the same time he's failing. And it's going to come to a point now where he's like, I want to get the fuck out of here. Like, this team is not going to be good. I'm 30 plus years old, and I wouldn't be the least bit surprised. I think I said this before. Come June 1st, like, I'm looking at Dalvin Cook and I'm looking at DeAndre Hopkins of getting cut. and possibly finding a new team, or most likely finding a new team. I think Dalvin Cook is definitely not going to be in Minnesota, and I would not count on DeAndre Hopkins being an Arizona Cardinal. It's just a matter of, are the Cardinals going to wait until training camp or the trade deadline to find the compensation they want? Because no one wants that contract. It's just way too much money. So at the end of the day, I do anticipate DeAndre Hopkins getting released from the Cardinals because they've already made a bunch of deals. They got draft compensation for next season. At this point, it's just better to cut ties, and then the Buffalo Bills or somebody else can get DeAndre Hopkins for a cheaper deal.
Yeah. Wait, so you're saying they'd release him? What would that mean for the Cardinals, though? Wouldn't they just be paying a bunch
They
of
would
dead money
free
in order
up-
to release him?
No, the dead money is well, prior to June 1st, they'd be $30 million in dead money. After June 1st, it's about $9 million. So that's significant. There really is no reason for
okay.
them to release him, with the exception of if they want to free up $19 million in cap space. But then again, what are they trying to do? My thing is that at some point DeAndre Hopkins is going to be like, can you guys just, like, if no one wants to trade for me, that's one thing, but like, you guys got your draft picks. Just let me be free. Let me go to a team that I want to go to. I'm not going to grow here. I'm not going to catch passes from Colt McCoy until Kyler Murray comes back. Like, what are we doing here? You guys are trying to lose to get Caleb Williams next season.
Yeah. My guess is, though, like, you say no. I hang on. I got to look up his contract here. I'm going to, because
He's got 2 years left,
Okay.
and he's going to pay $19 million this year. So the question is, do the Cardinals want to pay him $19 million? It seems like they're comfortable doing that, but at the same time, is it in the best interest of DeAndre Hopkins to be on this team right now? I guess, because he'll make $19 million, but at the same time, like, it's pretty clear. Like, Von Miller does a shit ton of interviews too, and every interview there's a question of, so are you trying to get DeAndre Hopkins? And Von Miller's like, yes, we are.
Yeah, they could release him, but and you do run into the idea, like the kind of Raiders and Carr situation, where you run into a situation where potentially you try to trade him, but you don't get any takers. You don't get anyone who's willing to pay that contract, and you're kind of left with no other option.
Well, hold on. I do think that if Derek Carr, if his contract situation wasn't, a no trade clause thing where he had the option to waive that, there would have been takers
Right.
from the Saints.
Good point. So I think, but I do think that there would be other teams willing to take on that contract if they feel like they need a wide receiver at some point in the trade deadline.
But not good teams. So like the Bills and the Chiefs are so cap strung because of their quarterbacks.
Yeah.
And it's tough. Like, I don't think any team has the cap room to give him $19 million right now, except for the Arizona Cardinals or maybe the Bears. But then again, like, DeAndre Hopkins doesn't want to go play for the Bears. And by the way, when he's listing his top five,
what if the Bears are better this year, though? What if?
I think they will be. I think they will be. But I don't think DeAndre Hopkins wants to go to a team that has to prove it. I think he wants to go to a team that's already established. And by the way, so when DeAndre Hopkins is listing his top 5 quarterbacks, they ask him, Brandon Marshall and Ashley Nicole Moss, I want to say her name is, Nicole Smith. They ask him, do you want to play with Dak Prescott? And he slightly shakes his head left to right, like, no, I don't. By the way, when did I Am Athlete become the Pat McAfee show wannabe?
What do you mean?
The I Am Athlete used to be a good roundtable discussion with Brandon Marshall and Fred Taylor and guys that live in Florida. Guys that I guess they're on the Pivot now. It used to be like a good discussion about culture and football and athletes. And now it's like Brandon Marshall giving hot takes about how Jamal Murray is not a superstar in the NBA.
I did not know that was the thing. I have not paid attention too much to that.
Again, that's just me. That's just me caring too much about these interviews.
Yeah, I have not focused too much on the I Am Athlete stuff. Sure, I'll listen to a couple of interviews here and there. I don't know how anyone can listen to Channing Crowder on the Pivot and take him seriously. Sorry, Channing Crowder, but some of the things that he said, man, it's just like, I mean, he gives it real. He gives the real, but at the same time, it's just like yeah, there's sometimes when I listen to what they're saying, I'm like, how is this popular? But you know, former players, you got to you got to respect them. You do.
Yeah.
but yeah, I didn't know they turned into that. I didn't know.
Yeah, and whatever. Real quick, just 2 rule changes that happened in the NFL. We talked about the quarterback one. We'll see if that's a thing with Trey Lance. At the end of the day, you only get to play your 3rd string quarterback if there's an emergency situation. Kickoffs are going to change. You can now fair catch. You know, the game and the ball will be placed at the 25-yard line. And they are going to do flexing for Thursday nights, but they got to do it 28 days in advance, and it's only weeks 13 through 17. I don't think they're going to do this that often. They can only do it twice during a season, so they're going to do it sparingly, if at all. Just quick reaction to those 2 new rule changes.
Yeah, just listen to the players. Just listen to the players and what they have to say about it. Like, who even cares what we think? Like, listen to these guys. They don't care. Like these rule changes, man. They're just like, that's all you have to do is just listen to what they're saying about it. Listen to what they think about it. It's pretty clear that this is universally like a dumb decision.
With the Thursday night you're talking about?
Yeah, it's just like, listen to the way they're talking about it. It's just, I don't know. I don't even know.
No, I'm with you, Steven. I think it was just a pure greed move.
Yeah.
Just to get better games on Thursday Night Football. But then again, you look at the schedule and it's not that bad. So I think it's going to be rare that a network is going to want to put a game that's on Sunday on Thursday that's actually really good. And yeah, the players just don't want to be screwed like that.
They hate Thursday Night Football. Like, that's what I'm saying. Is like, it's not even talking about the change now. Like, listen to what players have said. Sorry, I worded that poorly. Listen to what players also have said in the past just about playing on Thursday night.
Yeah.
No one wants to.
Richard Sherman, who's now Mr. Thursday Night.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No, I'm with you. I don't like it at all, but owners will always look to the money. And as far as the kickoff rule with the fair catch, I've seen multiple head coaches say that should not have taken place. But then again, we're trying to make the game safer. I understand to a certain degree. Let's just see how it plays out. We always get bent out of shape about some of these rule changes. There was going to be the PI for pass interference, or sorry, the review for pass interference, and it went away after 1 season. So let's just reserve judgment until this stuff actually goes into place.
I wonder with the new 3rd quarterback rule though, because the fair catch rule is stupid. Like that's just dumb.
Yeah.
But I don't even think that's worth discussing. Ooh, Casey Schmidt, line drive into the gap. Another
What's
RBI.
the score of the Giants game?
They're up 3-0. I've been switching back and forth. I switched away from Celtics and Heat because that's just, to be honest, it's a boring game. The Heat aren't even put up any fight at all. Celtics just have their number today.
Yeah, Celtics are currently up 80-63.
Switched it to the hockey game, but it was in second intermission, and all I saw was PK Subban wearing like leather leggings, and I had to turn it off.
Yeah,
and then
he dresses down for television, but I like.
Hey man, you know what? He's got some style. Actually, I know I'm hating, but it's all style, man. I'm sitting here wearing an Eazy-E shirt and a Sharks hat. Then I saw the A's though. The A's, you know, it's a low scoring game, but I switched it to the Giants real quick because they're on offense, and yeah, now they got the little 4-0 lead. But the third quarterback rule.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
That's what I want to go back to. The 3rd quarterback rule. The reason that they took it away back in 2011 is because teams were abusing it. Teams were putting those players in the 3rd quarter, or excuse me, in that 3rd quarterback spot. They were putting like players at other positions. They counted them as a 3rd quarterback and would use them on like special teams or something like that. I think this new rule kind of puts a stop to that because both quarterbacks have to get hurt in order for that player to play. But I wonder if there's going to be any teams that find some sort of loophole, or they just do keep 3 quarterbacks on the roster. Because it is crazy that they made the rule change so quick, because it feels like that was not once in a lifetime, but it feels like what happened with all the quarterback injuries to the 49ers this year, that it's going to be pretty rare that happens.
It's going to be rare, but also I think it's a good excuse that we won't see Trey Lance on the sideline in street clothes if it gets to that point.
Yeah. Also, there was another thing that I saw. Oh, I like I like how it's just we're trying to spin Lane Johnson's latest comments on the Rich Eisen show to act like he agrees with Deebo Samuel. Lane Johnson from the Eagles went on Rich Eisen and said it absolutely would have been a different game with Brock Purdy in there. And it's like, yeah, but
But they
then
wouldn't
like,
have won.
but they make the correlation to Deebo Samuel, and they're basically like, there's a lot of talk out there. Oh, he agrees with Deebo. See, Deebo is right in his comments. It's like Deebo said they would have won had they had another quarterback in there. Lane Johnson just said it would have been a different game.
Deebo Samuel says they would have killed him. He said that on Adam Shine show, which led to the most ridiculous response ever from Adam Shine going, "My God." It's the most ridiculous thing. If Deebo's like, if Brock Purdy would have been healthy, we would have won that game. It would have killed him. And Adam Shine is going, "My God, you're right." Stupid.
Yeah.
That hockey game is tied up 2-2 between the Knights and the Stars.
Yeah.
So we
I
still
mean,
have potential of all those conference finals being sweeps. If the exception of this game between the Celtics and Heat, the Celtics are the only ones that have prevented that. But if the Knights win tonight, you're gonna have 3 sweeps in 2 of the biggest, the only playoffs that are going on right now between hockey and basketball.
Yeah,
and
although it wouldn't be a first time for hockey. The last time it did happen, they have had 2 sweeps in the conference final before. That was back in 1992.
but never in the NBA, and we won't have it now since it looks like the Celtics are going to get this win tonight. So that Eastern Conference final will be prolonged, and maybe they make history. Who knows?
Dude, I'm telling you, like if there's any team that can do it, it could be the Celtics. Like the Miami Heat have, I would say people forget, but people haven't forgotten. People haven't forgotten. It's been written about constantly. But the Heat were 3 minutes away from being eliminated from the play-in game in the 8th seed. Like if there's any team that could lose out on a 3-0 lead, I mean, I can't believe Gabe Vincent might have made the biggest difference here. Shout out to Modesto, Stockton area. But Gabe Vincent being out tonight, that's pretty huge. I don't know if he's going to be out for game 6. But this improbable run for the Heat, man, it can wear on teams. And it looks like the Celtics, I think they kind of heard everything that's been going on, and they're kind of using that right now because the rumors around like Jaylen Brown and, the fact that he's the one guy they got to trade if they want to break this thing up. I don't know. I mean, there's one team that could do it. I mean, the Celtics are still a damn good basketball team. I don't know. It seems like we've just acted like they're the Houston Rockets or something like that after these first 3 games. It's pretty easy to win 4 games in a row for them. I think they could do it. I wouldn't be shocked.
We'll see what happens, and especially after Joe Mazzulla admits that he watches the Town 4 times a day. That's going to swing any series.
It reminds me of Josh Norman saying that he watches Gladiator before every game.
Ray Lewis does that too. Listen, Joe Mazzulla, 4 times a day or 4 times a week, whatever it was. Listen, Town's a good movie. It's not that good. Like if we're talking about Boston gangster films, give me The Departed over The Town.
Why do you have to choose one or the other? Why do you always do that?
Because there's better Irish gangster movies.
Doesn't have to be better. If he likes the movie, he likes the movie. It's fine.
Okay, but I don't believe him for a second. He watches it 4 times a week. That's ridiculous. It's psychotic.
Dude, he's got to be like, how many times do you think he's done the quote where, like, I don't know, I don't know what Joe Mazzulla's family life is like.
I need your help. We're gonna go hurt some people.
Yeah. We're gonna go rob some people. We're probably gonna hurt some people. I don't want to tell you about it. I can't tell you anything about it. How many times do you think that he's just sat back in his couch and, like, I don't know, his wife, or I don't even know if he has a family, but if he has some kids, maybe they're
Here's
like,
the thing.
Hey, can we go to McDonald's? And he's just like, whose car are we gonna take?
You're acting like Joe Mazzulla has that accent.
I mean, he could do an impersonation. Anybody can.
That's the thing.
Anybody.
I think Joe Mazzulla to the Boston media is trying to seem like he's very Boston. But, like, I'm sure people in the audience, like, are the media members, are like, The Town? That's the movie you choose?
I watched The Town on Monday. I watched The Departed on Tuesday. I watched
Good Will Hunting.
I watched Black Mass on Wednesday. I watched Good Will Hunting on Thursday. I watched Ted on Friday because I want to laugh.
then I watch reruns of Family Guy just to get Peter Griffin's voice down.
Oh,
Speaking of the team that actually swept in the NBA playoffs, the Western Conference Finals, the Nuggets did. And the Nuggets are going to the NBA Finals, and Jokic and Jamal Murray and Aaron Gordon had a fantastic game 4. The Lakers were up, I think, by 15 at halftime, and LeBron James scored 31 in the first half, and then he was held to 9 points in the second half, and Anthony Davis was nowhere to be found, and Jokic had an unbelievable, behind the back or behind his head, stepping awkwardly backwards 3 that won him the game, and then there's a great defensive play by Aaron Gordon and Jamal Murray to stop LeBron James at the rim. I think LeBron James just got tired in that game. And then,
No, it's a good strategy by them, man. It was a great strategy by them. They just said, hey, we wanted to get him to go to his left. We know that he's weak from there, especially driving to the rim. So that's what they did. The game plan worked to perfection.
Yes. And yes, in celebration, Ernie, I ate some McDonald's nuggets on Sunday and eating them after the Greek Fest. I was very hungover. How were you on Sunday?
Wait, you had him on Sunday? You mean Monday? Because Ernie, straight up, I'm not kidding, after Stadium, I drove to McDonald's and got us a 20-piece McNuggets to bring home.
Did you really?
Yeah. And
No,
it's kind of out the way, too. I went out
did
the
not-
way to go get them.
I did not get the nuggets in celebration of the Nuggets. I needed the Nuggets to survive the next day after Greek Fest because we drank a lot that day.
No, man, I told you, man, I don't really we eat so much food there. Although, I mean, maybe the
Now you and Jesse left early.
What was how long did you guys stay at Elena's? Good Lord.
We stayed there for a bit of time, and Elena got more shots for us, and I needed McDonald's the next day.
Boy, yeah,
It was
little
rough.
Casamigos. Wasn't that Casamigos what she was serving there? Dude, I'm not gonna lie to you. I was so already, we spent the Uber to get there. It's $20, from Walnut Creek to Oakland. That's fine. We could deal with that. $25. But then Elena's like, hey, everyone come over to my place, blah, blah, blah. And then I was like, yeah, hell yeah, we'll go over there. And then as we're driving down the bridge, I'm like, whoa, this is kind of far. Oh God, this Uber's gonna cost a lot. I couldn't
From
help but
Oakland to
think
El
about it.
Cerrito?
I was happy to be there, but as twice the Uber charge.
That's when you know you're getting older, you're getting married. You're like, this is really gonna take me away from my me time.
Well, not for my me time. It's just gonna, I'm spending a lot of money here. Got an engagement ring. I just, I'm about to spend a 20-piece McNugget meal on McDonald's on Monday. I didn't foresee that.
It's for the Ernies, though.
Dude, on Sunday though, full movie day.
Yeah.
Full movie day for your boy. Like it was literally. I woke up, put on, I think, Rookie of the Year. Or was that last? I can't remember. I've been watching the mob movies lately.
I watched Moneyball after we all did the Greek Fest. I woke up on Sunday morning. It was on AMC. I couldn't tell if I was still drunk or hungover, but I got emotional just watching the footage of the A's and the Coliseum being full and listening to those old calls. And I was like, damn, we're never gonna experience that again. And then of course Glenn Kuiper's in the movie too, and you're like, ooh.
Yeah, that sucks, man.
About
I
Glenn?
don't know. Look, man. Look, I'll just say this about the whole Glenn Kuiper situation. I know we didn't really.
Yeah, you and I
wanna
haven't
touch
talked
on
about
too
it,
much. But look, man, I don't know Glenn Kuiper. I do know that I've watched him on TV broadcasts for years and years and years. Has always seemed like a stand-up individual. And when I saw the details that, NBC Sports California told all outlets, it was upon the internal review and there were various factors that came to play. But according to Kuiper's statement, it was clearly just the one mistake that cost him his, what he feels is his career. So I just don't know. I don't know what's real. Until the details are undisclosed, or until the details are disclosed from that internal investigation, I don't know what to think.
It's tough to have an opinion on, to be perfectly honest. We've all seen the video, and it's a terrible, terrible mistake. But you also think it was a misspeak compared to Tom Brenneman saying how he actually felt about a group of people. It's different. At the same time, I don't know what's right or wrong, to be completely honest. it's a tough deal. Like, he made a terrible mistake and he should have been suspended and everything. But as far as losing his job, I don't know. That's tough.
And the A's have already had, enough. I'm not even going to say like good or bad PR, just PR in a negative light when their team is one of
it's
the
been
worst
bad
in
PR.
baseball, and now they're up and moving to Vegas. They reached that tentative agreement earlier this week, and it's just it seems like they've taken a small step, but again, we actually don't know until they bring it to the Nevada legislature. And then I saw something that it can actually be brought to a public vote for a repeal in like June of 2024. So this is, I don't think it's a done deal. Even after it's brought to the Nevada government or whatever. But maybe this was the type of move where the A's kind of felt and NBC Sports California, for that matter, felt like they didn't need any more bad press. And yeah,
it's tough. It's tough. Didn't you have a question you wanted to ask me about the A's and the Raiders? You
Oh,
tweeted
yeah.
about it.
Yeah, man.
Lay it on me.
Well, what do you think? Do you think the Raiders will make the playoffs in Vegas again before the A's arrive in 2027?
Yes. I think that they have to make the playoffs before 2027.
Whew. I don't know.
If they don't in that amount of time, yikes. Then Josh McDaniels is a failure if he does not get them to the playoffs if they're not in the playoffs by next season, then you start to think, what's going on here?
Yeah. I think it's
and you think it's going to take that long for the A's to be in Vegas in 2027?
Well, that's when their new team's set to debut. Yeah.
Is that what they said?
Yeah, they want to break ground in construction by next year and then get on the field by 2027. But
with playing in Oakland in the meantime?
Oh no, that's the other question they haven't answered. Where they're going to play in the meantime, nobody knows.
Aviator Stadium, probably.
Aviator Stadium is probably going to be it. They're going to split time there. Obviously, the whole thing with Laney College out here didn't work, so they can't play there. They're not going to let them play in some. They're not going to play in Sacramento. So there's few options. I don't know what UNLV's baseball team is like, but
it'd be hot as hell.
Yeah. So yeah, they're not going to debut until 2027. And I gotta give credit to Scott Ostler. Quick read from the San Francisco Chronicle, but he went off on Vegas and the A's, and he kind of wrote like a warning to Vegas. You have a tentative agreement, but it's like, I don't even know what Scott Ostler sounds like. I've met him a couple of times, but yeah, he he went off on him, to be honest. It was great. So
I'll read it.
Yeah, Susan Slusser was the one that retweeted it earlier, so I had to take a look, and he as the kids say, ethered them.
Ooh, an old Nas diss track.
Yeah, Scott Ostler.
A lot of kids reference that ether thing, and they never know what it's from.
They don't even know what it's about. Yeah,
exactly. Real quick, back to the Nuggets. They're going to be in the NBA Finals,
and
I don't think the national media is too happy about it, because while the Nuggets are a very entertaining team, and like I saw Chris Mannix today on Rich Eisen's show say like they're not an entertaining team. They are a very entertaining team. Jokic is entertaining to watch. Jamal Murray is entertaining to watch. They're just not in a big market, and Jokic is not a superstar in the sense that he's a two-time MVP, but let's be real. He doesn't appeal to an American audience yet because of the accent and because of, I don't know, he's just not as marketable as other guys in the NBA. So I think that kind of hinders him.
It sounds like Chris Mannix too sounded like salty. It sounded like there's a little shade.
Well,
from
yeah,
like
he
said
he wanted a
Jokic
Lakers
doesn't
filter.
let you. He doesn't. Well, it's like Jokic doesn't let you do profiles on him. He doesn't do interviews outside of the normal media rounds. Sounds like you were trying to get one, and he didn't want you. He wouldn't want to do it.
No, definitely. And I think Michael Malone. Some people may think that he's whining a little bit about how Jokic doesn't get the credit that he deserves in NBA circles. But I think he's right in the aspect that when the Nuggets win, the conversation the next day is all about the Lakers. And that's what happened the day after they swept on Tuesday. It was all about LeBron James and his possible retirement.
That's the thing is the same people that are saying that Michael Malone is whining are the same people who are focusing on LeBron's retirement more than the actual game.
Okay, let's just get this out of the way. Is LeBron James retiring? Yes or no?
No,
Of course not.
no, he's not retiring.
And let's get this out of the way too. Is he coming to the Warriors?
No,
Thank you.
no, no.
Conversation's ridiculous. Just because Colin Cowherd has an opinion doesn't mean that everybody else needs to have the same reaction to it. It's ridiculous.
It's no. It's no. And I love Kevin O'Connor from The Ringer, but he wrote there's talk around the NBA. There's talk around the NBA that him and the Warriors would be a nice little pairing. Fine, whatever. And also Kevin O'Connor's I love him. I listen to his podcast. I love him and Chris Vernon on The Mismatch. If anyone likes basketball, I do recommend that podcast. It's very entertaining. Chris Vernon is, he's a Grizzlies guy, so sometimes he has a little bit of that Grizzlies bias, but overall, they both watch basketball every single day. They both know what they're talking about. But whenever Kevin O'Connor writes these things, he does this with the Warriors every offseason. He's always the one that drives it. It's like Pascal Siakam was one year for him. I think even Giannis was brought up in one of his articles before, and now LeBron. So, I'm not saying he's not reputable. I'm not saying he doesn't know people. I mean, I'm sure he has heard that, there are certain leagues around the cliques around the NBA who feel that's an actual thing. But, maybe it is, but it's not going to happen.
Why would LeBron want to do that at this point? His son's going to play at USC. It's either LeBron James plays for the Lakers or nothing. And I think LeBron James this is him when he punched the board against the Warriors and broke his hand, and he showed the world that his hand was broken after they got swept.
You know what we like to call this, Derek? You know what we like to call this?
What is it?
Controlling the narrative.
Exactly. It is LeBron James pulling a Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers to try to get his name out there when he is the loser. So I think it was an ultimatum, basically, when he said, I don't know what my future holds. It's an ultimatum to the Lakers. Get me Draymond or get me Kyrie Irving, and then I'll come back.
It wasn't even prompted. It was unprompted. If anyone
Exactly.
goes back and watches that interview, he's asked to evaluate his season. And then he's not ending. He's the media is trying to be respectful. Let him do his talking. As they should. He deserves to speak as much as he wants. He doesn't need to be cut off. But this was on the 2.5 minute mark of his last answer. And then he's done. And he's out. Just leaves him with that little truth bomb there. And then Dave McMenamin, who's covered him for the past 9 seasons, he's going to keep driving that. Of course he's going to drive that. Dave McMenamin had the scoop. No, he's just helping LeBron control the narrative.
Chris Haynes, too. They both released that after the fact. Because no one asked LeBron. No one thinks at this point LeBron's are you coming back or not? No, he wanted to make that be known. So the whole thing's annoying. And I think that, I don't know, the NBA has a problem with parity. I think the NFL likes it. I think that MLB is just, different teams every year. NFL and Major League Baseball are more team driven, where the NBA is star driven. And the fact that there's not really a superstar per se on the Nuggets is why I think that the NBA Finals is not going to have a huge rating. But then again, between the Celtics or Heat, I think the Nuggets are going to be a good competition. I think it's going to be a fun finals, but I think that it's not going to get as much publicity because the Nuggets are in it.
Yeah, in the end, this is just me personally. It sucks for the NBA, I guess, but I don't care about that. I don't care about ratings. I don't care whether the matchup's a draw. As long as it's a good series when it plays out, I don't care. And right now, I totally disrespected the Nuggets to start the podcast. I've been wrong about a lot of things in sports. But that one, they've proved me wrong. They've completely proved me wrong. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, I'm a man for admitting that I'm wrong. People tend to do that. It's really weird. I'm a man enough to admit that I'm wrong. What? But I was just dead wrong in my assessment. Jokic has been just unbelievable. And the way that the Nuggets have built their team, I don't know how you can't respect that. It started with drafting a player, 2014, Nikola Jokic in the second round. Then you get to Michael Malone, drafted in 2015. Then you get to Jamal Murray in 2016. And then a couple of years go by, you got to Michael Porter Jr. in 2018. Then you got your core there after Michael Porter Jr. gets over the back injury that he started out with. Then you trade for Aaron Gordon, Boom, the core's in place. And now you get Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. You make a couple of additions. You got some nice players coming off the bench. You still got Jeff Green. Like it's really been like almost a decade-long process to getting to where they're at now. And by the way, have you looked at the Nuggets' history of the postseason?
Well, have I looked at it? I know some of it. Yeah.
Well, there's like only one conference final that they've made. I think this is like that was like their sixth one, maybe their fifth. But like they have not played against any other team besides the Lakers since their first year in the NBA when they made it to the conference final. That was against the Supersonics back in 1977. Since then, they had played the Lakers every single time.
That's funny because I remember Carmelo Anthony losing to the Lakers, and I remember the bubble with Jokic and them losing to the Lakers. So that is interesting. No, I'm with you, Steven. I like the additions they made, like Bruce Brown is good off the bench. They like
Bruce Brown.
Like Ernie said in the chat, they have Reggie Jackson and he doesn't even play. DeAndre Jordan doesn't even play. And they just did the old natural way. You know, they lost to the Warriors last season. They lost to a lot of teams throughout their playoff runs. That's why we didn't really buy into them yet. And then they just got better. They just became a better team, and now they're the top of the West. And I think that they have a good shot to be the NBA champions, especially if they play the Heat. If they play the Celtics, it'll be an even series, but we'll see what happens with this Eastern Conference Finals. And by the way, you have a little Taco Bell idea.
Look, man, the fact that
Mr.
Jokic
Taco
was
Bell.
the fact that Jokic was drafted while a Quesarito commercial was going on, that's no coincidence, my friend. That was a sign of things to come. Okay? Here's my thing. Taco Bell, the Quesarito to me, altered the franchise. Completely altered everything about him. It had
Wait. Franchise of the Nuggets or Taco Bell?
Taco Bell. It was altered the franchise of Taco Bell. And at the same time, Jokic altered the franchise of the Nuggets. The only difference is the Nuggets actually stuck with Nikola Jokic, and now they're in the NBA Finals where the Taco Bell, and I'm going to go full Steiny here, didn't have the guts to keep the Quesarito on their menu. Gutless. And look where they're at now. People complaining, people posting photos of like the 90s Taco Bell menu, just wondering where that's at. I'm like, yo, where's the one from the early 2010s where a beefy 5-layer burrito was $1? Huh? Where's that at?
Good Lord.
But anyway, rant over. My idea, you got to have some sort of Quesarito deal with Jokic. You know? Like,
oh, yeah.
Like,
well,
Jokic gets a triple. Jokic gets a triple-double, they'll bring back the Quesarito. That's it.
Well, not only that, but isn't there like a thing during the NBA Finals? You steal a game, you steal a taco. So like
Something
when the
like
road
that.
team wins, it's like free taco day at Taco Bell.
Yeah, they have that for the Sharks. Whenever the Sharks score 4 goals, you get 4 tacos from Taco Bell. But point being, they need to do something with this. Like, how does Taco Bell not jump at the opportunity to get the potential Finals MVP coming up here? The guy who everyone's going to be talking about these playoffs. I don't even care if he's not a popular player. I think a lot of people are going to be talking about Jokic. A lot of people are going to be introduced to him for the first time. Quesarito they need to do something. I don't know what it is, but get involved with the Quesarito.
I'm
That's
with
how
you.
Jokic would pronounce it, I think.
Now, Steven, you know your Taco Bell, and this is actually a very good idea. They should implement this because the man was drafted during a damn Taco Bell commercial. So if Taco Bell was smart in the same way that they got, Coors Light was all about Tom Flores going to the Hall of Fame, Taco Bell needs to make an ad quickly for the NBA Finals.
100%, dude.
Yeah, I'm with you.
try the new Taco Bell Quesarito. You know,
it's like reporters like, is it healthy? If you die, you die.
Like him and Pete Davidson. Put him and Pete Davidson in the
I
commercial.
I forgot Pete Davidson's in those commercials. It's awkward. Him and Rhonda.
Yeah. I don't like Taco Bell's. It's still a go-to. Not gonna lie to you. I'd be completely lying if
I never.
I've
never been a real Taco Bell guy. Got to be honest.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm not proud of it. It's not something that I'm proud of, but it's what I live with. Like I could come out with a TLC show about it. My Taco Bell life.
I just don't think I can handle it, especially now. Like, 30 years old and me with my problems with enough of wings and stuff, I couldn't handle Taco Bell now.
Just it reminds me. I just watched Jason Sudeikis on Hot Ones. He just had an episode today.
Oh, he's on
And,
it. I need to check it out.
Yeah, and he talked about this story from Hall Pass, where like Owen Wilson, I forget, they were like eating wings. I think it was a scene where they're at the bar eating wings. I don't know. You've seen the movie, right?
I actually have not.
Oh, well, it's a really dumb, hilarious movie. I highly recommend it.
Yeah,
There's a
Farley Brothers movie.
where there's a scene where they're sitting at a bar and they're eating wings and they're talking about what a hall pass is and all that. And I guess like Jason Sudeikis was just no hesitancy, like going straight for the wings that they provided on the movie set without even asking a question. And I guess and Owen Wilson, I guess, was like, "Do you just put anything you want in your stomach?" And then he's like, "Yeah, pretty much." And then Owen Wilson's like, "Man, if you took care of yourself and actually exercised, you could look pretty good." And I can't help but think of that now. Whenever I'm going to be stuck eating Taco Bell and I haven't exercised for anything outside my left shoulder in like a year. I'm starting to get self-conscious, man.
As you said, Steven, when we were talking combine, you could have been a great athlete. Just Taco Bell got in the way.
Yeah. I mean, 100%, dude. I'm like Guru. He says like he said, my arm couldn't throw fastballs anymore. I used to throw 95 miles an hour, and that's why I didn't go pro. Yeah, like I'm the same way. Just if Taco Bell wasn't a thing, I could have been somebody, Derek. I could have been a contender.
Taco Bell got in the way, man.
Yeah. No, if I'm being honest, man, it's just I have those. I'll open up on the pod a little bit. I have a lot of those days where I'm just super insecure, like about everything, and then like all
Taco
of a sudden
Bell
I'll just
comforts that.
and all of a sudden I eat Taco Bell, and it's like now I feel better about it, but now I don't because I just ate Taco Bell again. It's a real shame.
But a part
The
of you is
second
like,
half of that, the second half of that's the lie. The first half is true. I'm very insecure
exactly.
about a lot of things.
yeah, but the Taco Bell is worth it at the end of the day, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
I feel you.
I don't think I've ever told this story. I'm going to tell this one about Lowe. I think the Ernies might get a kick out of this. But when I first got on the air, it's so funny because Lowe's in the studio. When I first got on the air, it was doing updates. I was like filling in for Anna once, and I never really stepped foot into the studio too much when I was working their show as the board. I just talked to them through the initial feedback, whatever. But I walk in there for the first time, and I don't know. I mean, they come outside the studio, so they see me. But I guess Lowe hadn't looked at me. But he just like he sees me, stares up and down. And then, by the way, this is like 40 pounds ago. No, not that many. Maybe 20 or 30. He just went, "Steven, oh my God." I was like, "What?" He's like, "Steven, you fat, bro." I was like, "What?" He's like, I've never seen you wear a sweater like that, bro. You fat. And then I literally was on I was on the mic like in 10 seconds after he told me that. It's then I haven't gotten over it. Then he continued when we saw each other through Zoom and we hosted a show together after training camp once. He goes, "Steven, your face got huge."
Well, I also think it was just Lowe trying to mess with you at the same time.
Probably because he liked to do that, but it's still stuck.
I remember.
every-
No, I mean, I remember he used to do that. Like there was one point where he saw me at the draft show, and he was like, "Damn, Derek, look at you getting fat, but not as fat as Steven, I'll tell you that." It's like, damn, Lowe. Just love calling people fat.
Yeah, well, he can. He's I've never met a stronger human in my life.
I could take him.
Okay. I mean, I know you're kidding, but good Lord,
Nah.
that's that man gave me a bear hug once, and I legit thought he was gonna break every single bone in my body.
Yeah, Lowe's all talk.
Not kidding.
I'll say this: He's not stronger than Sam Gash.
Nice.
I used to do that all the time to him when there was the there was an A's watch party, and a bunch of people showed up to watch the A's playoff game between the Yankees and A's, and all these people showed up, and I'm like, he goes, "Damn, D Pop, you see all these guys from me? They're here to see the greatest fullback of all time." And I go, "Oh, really? Sam Gash show up already?" He goes, "Oh, you had to say that. My biggest rival from the 90s. You know your shit, huh?"
Oh, it's so good. It's so, yeah, like, I don't know. I'm so glad that he was like a good sport about everything. Like, if he didn't have like a sense of humor about himself and stuff in his career, even as like the greatest like fullback of all time, I don't know. Like, it'd be a different story because we got on him for a lot.
Greatest blocking fullback of all time. You know who's the greatest fullback of all time?
Larry Zonka.
No, that's debatable. Jim Brown. Good segue, Derek. Thank you.
Nice.
Yes, I'm wearing his jersey today because I got this jersey a long time ago. My dad was lucky enough to do an interview with Jim Brown and got it autographed. And no, Ernie's, I'm not going to change my outfit for every conversation we're going to have or topic we're going to have. I'm not Greg on the live stream. But I did want to wear this today because Jim Brown is the greatest running back, fullback of all time. And yeah, I know he played in the 60s and none of us actually saw him play, but you see the highlights and the man just dominated. In the 9 years he played, he led the league in rushing 8 times. But of course, we're going to know him for Mars Attacks, just beating the crap out of those aliens. And Any Given Sunday, where he told Lawrence Taylor, "I don't get strokes, motherfucker. I give them." Yeah, he made a good career of being the best, arguably one of the best players in football, and then became a solid actor. Now,
Yeah.
is there a bad past with him? 100%. He was a flawed man and at times a terrible man, but he also was a good man. Did things with social, justice and trying to change things in his community. So, yeah, Jim Brown lost at I think I forget how old he was when he passed away last week, but
He's
yeah.
87.
87. Yes.
He is 87. No, I do make the jokes about how, you never watched him play. You're a big fan. I mean, I said that right before we came on the pod, but he, like, I don't believe it in sports whenever, they say the sport would not be, the same without him. Like, I don't necessarily buy into that because there's always someone that's kind of the next up, right? But there was someone like him, and like he set the precedent for all running backs, and just he showed like this is what power, speed, like agility, shiftiness, everything, and blocking, physical, just ferocious. Like he proved that running backs can be that. So like I just much respect for him to his career. And then, obviously, but yeah, you mentioned Mars Attacks. That's the first thing I seen him in. I thought he was just an actor. I was 4 years old when that movie came out, and I watched him when I was way younger. Then I learned about the history of football, and I was like, wait a second, Jim Brown is the guy from Mars Attacks? So yeah.
The guy that beat the crap out of all those aliens?
Yeah, man. I'm dead.
By the way,
serious. Like I didn't
crazy
know.
cast.
Yeah.
I need to watch that movie again, but it's crazy to the point where Jack Nicholson played 2 different characters. He played the president and some hillbilly casino owner.
No one talks about it enough. No one talks about that Jack Nicholson role enough. Jack Black as the crazy military son.
Danny DeVito.
Yeah. Sarah Jessica Parker plays a dog.
Pierce Brosnan. Who's the guy that sings? Is it Tom Jones? It's not unusual to be
Tom
lonely.
Jones. Yeah.
Crazy ass movie. Anyway, rest in peace to Jim Brown. Goddamn, this is the longest podcast we have seen we have done in a long time. So
yeah, that's fine.
I know. And Jesse on the stream's like, you guys are still going? So get back to your new wife, Steven.
She's not home. It's fine. She's had like a doctor's
why is she
appointment
coming?
early. She had a doctor's appointment. She's probably watching on her way home. I don't know.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, I think 2 hours is enough. Would you agree?
Yeah. Maybe. Yeah, I do. And now that I think about it, maybe she's going to the doctor to get like her brain checked because she's getting too engaged to a guy like me. Yikes.
Ended a high note there. So yeah, it looks like the
She's
Celtics
gonna
are
hate
gonna.
that I said that. She's gonna hate
Well,
that I said that.
It's more of an insult towards you, I'd say.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd like
It's
to
a
think so.
it's a self-deprecating joke. All right. It looks like the Celtics are going to force a game 6, so this is going to be very interesting come Saturday. As far as us, Steven, you do anything for Memorial Day?
Nothing on Memorial Day except working, my man. So I'll be good to go.
Oh, are you working?
Yeah.
That's unfortunate. I'll be off, so we can do a little day podcast. We haven't done that in a while, except for on the weekends.
Yeah, I could do that.
All right, let me know.
I'm all good.
Nerdies,
Yeah.
come join us on Memorial Day, and hopefully, well, we will. I think we'll have unless there's a game 7, we should know the finals by then. But we shall see if the Celtics make it very interesting.
Yeah, man. I think they can. I really think they can.
We'll see what happens. All right, everybody. See you Monday. Steven, say what you always say.
And that's just our man.